Hey everyone! By show of virtual hands, who out there has heard of the term tummy time? Now, when I say tummy time, I'm not referring to that thing that we do when we're kind of face planted after we've had either too much to eat or drink, mouth hanging open and drool coming out. Although, come to think of it, there may actually be some drooling involved in tummy time. That's not what I mean, though, at least not today. When I say tummy time, I'm actually referring to supervised time when an infant is placed on their tummy. You guessed it. Yay, you. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, they actually recommend placing infants in supervised tummy time to ensure optimal development, not just that, but also to correct some of the negative impacts that they see associated with infants being placed on their back or in a supine position for extended amounts of time. Now, while we really want to see infants on their tummy and we promote that all the time, it's important to note that it's not something we want to do when they're sleeping. And that's simply because doing so significantly increases the risk for SIDS. We'll talk about SIDS later. What you need to know is that it's sudden infant death syndrome. We're going to get into that. We're going to delve into the hows and whys of tummy time. We're going to talk about what it has to do with this SIDS that I keep talking about. And I don't mean your uncle. And of course, we're going to talk about tummy time as it relates to physical development. Now, hopefully, with this information and at the end of this speech, not only will you become familiar with all things tummy time, but hopefully you'll gain or develop an appreciation for how something so small and seemingly meaningless is huge and potentially life saving, because who doesn't want to be a hero? So let's get into it. We're going to start with what is that tummy time? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's time that an infant spends on their tummy. Now, you're probably wondering, what should that look like? And I'm going to tell you. It's going to be when an infant is alert and awake, because we don't want sleepy baby, on a firm, flat surface, not the cushy one. And we want to have a baby who's in a pretty good mood. They're not hungry, not too close to a meal, and not, far or too close to after a meal. Meaning, we don't want the hangry baby who's not wanting to cooperate because he's hangry. And we don't want the baby who's so stuffed that they're spitting up, because that's not going to lead to a successful tummy time session. And overall, you don't want to have a baby who's sick and just not feeling well, because if they can't breathe well, stuffy nose on their tummy, it's just not going to lead you to be successful. Now that you know what it looks like, let's talk about what it should not look like. Supervised tummy time is not this. Place the baby down and it should always be supervised. So it's not when the teacher steps away or the parent. It's not something that is done on a soft, cushy surface or in a crib. Never ever in a crib, because we talked about that before, SIDS. No. That's not what it is. Not when a child is super stressed and they're just in a bad mood, they're not going to be willing or just not feeling well. That's not what we're going to do. Now, why would we even want to put an infant on their tummy? Why tummy time? Number one, tremendously reduces the risk of SIDS. By placing that baby on their tummy, not only are you helping to strengthen their core, you're helping to build those neck muscles so that if they do happen to roll into the prone or belly position, supine, prone, you're getting some stuff there. They can lift their head and move their head from side to side so they can continue to breathe their air freely. And that is super important. So that's definitely why we want to put babies on their tummy. And of course, it promotes large muscle development so that they can get those core muscles going so that they can reach, eventually roll over, sit and stand, walk, and do all that good stuff. Now, what are going to be some obstacles? You might have a caregiver who just doesn't give a hoot about it. They don't want to get on the floor. That's too much. No, that's for somebody else to do. That happens. Or you just could also have some non-compliance from the child. Maybe it was a bad time. They're crying. They're not really feeling well. But you can overcome those too. You absolutely can. You want to try to avoid the tummy time when the infant may need some rest. You want to make sure that you address all of their needs first. Make sure they're not hungry. Make sure they're not full. They're not sleepy. Make sure they're overall well. And then make sure you check yourself. Make sure that you address any preconceived notions that you may have about it and get rid of that negative stigma. Be consistent, because the more you put that baby on their tummy, the more they're going to be familiar with it, and the more it's going to become like second nature, and everyone's going to be great. Be patient. And make it fun. Put some stimulating things out there like, oh, something over there. Get those babies reaching. And remember that this is an opportunity for a special bonding time. And that's awesome. Now, by now, you've heard all there is to know about tummy time and why it's more than just placing that baby on their tummy. And with this new information, you should feel confident that not only are you going to place those babies on their tummy, but you can also relish in the fact that not only are you helping to save their life, because you're a hero, by reducing SIDS, but you're also helping them to develop the kind of strength that they need to become movers and shakers for the rest of their life. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Have a wonderful day.